Academy Award-winning actor Richard Dreyfuss spoke to the LaJolla Golden Triangle Rotary Club on October 14, 2011 regarding the Dreyfuss Initiative Foundation and its efforts to improve civics in our educational system. This is part 2 of 6 of a roughly 50-minute talk.
Please understand, I speak to you from a love of country, and I speak to you from a sincere and deep love of my own children, who are threatened every day more and more by their lives being foreshortened, made uncreative, and made less thrilling than any other generation in our American past. And someone is going to try to reach into my family one day and put his hand on my son's shoulder or my daughter's shoulder and say, "Come along with me, little girl, and let's have an adventure, and I'll give you a college education, and we'll have an illegal war, and come on, you may kill some people or get killed, but that's okay. And I'll shoot that person." Because when I was 12 years old, I made a commitment that I was going to be an actor and a movie star. I was going to retire in my mid-50s and go into politics. And then I was going to retire and teach history. And the only thing I've ever changed from any of that is that I decided at some point not to seek elective office because I think it's a step down. When was the last time you heard the profession of politician called a noble calling? When was the last time you believed the public official who was speaking to an audience in front of you? The Lieutenant Governor of California heard about my initiative and came down to La Jolla and asked to join up. And I was flattered and surprised because I didn't know. And I said, "Well, I'm flattered, but you're not invited." And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "You're a politician. And there is a 100% agreement in this country now that anything a politician says in public is inauthentic. Which means that our public life is now completely private. And our private life is now on the Jerry Springer Show. And we line up to talk about incest, to talk about adultery and drugs on the Jerry Springer Show. So our private life is public, our public life is private, and we are living in Alice's Tea Party. We live in a world of common senselessness. Laws are not only broken, they are broken brazenly right in front of our eyes. Our banks, our subprime mortgage industries, our education industry, our mass media industry. You cannot name an industry that has not been scooped empty of its mandate and is now walking around like a zombie invisible ghost. What is the mandate of public education? I asked the Chancellor of Virginia, of the University of Virginia. And he said, and I said, "I want you to know when the kids come in, I'm going to ask you that question." And he left the building. And so the 900 kids were left without the chancellor there, so I couldn't ask him. And I asked them, and they didn't have a clue. What's the mandate of public education? It's to make our kids smarter. It's simple. It's to make our kids smarter on Friday than they were on Monday. It's to make them smarter than we are. It's to make them smart enough to prevail in this world, which is not pro-American. Life is not pro-American. And yet, we have abandoned all attempt at the rigor, discipline, and splendid pleasure of learning for the local political gotcha games we play about teachers and teachers' unions, and we have forgotten that what we are doing is preparing for the future. Here's some reality. There is no nation if you have no future. There is no future if you have no nation. And what was revolutionary about this country was that we were founded by men who knew that, as John Adams said, our progeny is more important to us than our ancestry. And we have always had commitment to our young. We have always had what we call the American dream. No one in this room is unaware of the American dream. And in every generation from the first, we have been successful at being able to pass to our kids a country better than the one we got from our parents. Until now. And now we get an F in our ability to pass that on to our kids, because it takes 2 salaries to support a family. It takes more money to buy a house than is possible. And they lie about the stats. Okay? We fail at being able to give our kids the American dream. We fail at giving them the future. And I have spoken to over 170,000 people in various incarnations around the country. And one of them was to the main bar. And I got to the airport to get to the main 19 minutes early, not 20. And so they wouldn't let me on the plane, and I sat there and watched my plane sit there for 19 minutes, and then it took off without me. And I knew I had to get a hotel. I had to go 4 o'clock in the morning. I had to trudge, through the airport, and I lost my noble resolve. And so when I walked in the next morning, I said, I am dedicating this speech to the American dead. To those of you who feel a real connection of devotion to the America to come, to the America that your grandchildren will live in, stick around. You're going to hear some really good things. But to those of you who are probably a majority, but just to those of you who in your secret heart really don't give a damn, because you're going to be dead, you ought to leave now, because I've got nothing to say to you. If you don't understand the necessity of making excellent our children so that they are prepared for life, prepared for anything that life throws at them, if you are not willing to commit your resources of thought and money and time and creativity to the future of this country, then you are guaranteeing its failure. The greatest thing about the Constitution of the United States, in its preamble, is that it does not guarantee happiness. It guarantees the allowance to pursue happiness. I guarantee, however, the failure of America, because we will not be teaching our business community the settle, the brains, to compete with others who are not American. We will not develop in their brains the devotion necessary to talk their way through to war. And instead, we will rely on the tried and true, new. Let's just skip that part, not ask for permission, and just go to a legal war. Breaking the law is breaking major law is bad in a major way. And when the Constitution of the United States is broken right in front of your eyes, and broken by consensus by the people who are senators, representatives, and presidents, you've got a real problem on your hands. And that problem could be spoken of as perhaps we're just not emotionally mature enough for Republican democracy. Perhaps we're not mature enough to know how to be a Tennessean and the sovereign power. But that's the mandate that we've been handed. And that's the mandate that has made us the wonder of the world. The wonder of the world, a political miracle known to every country on earth except America, because we don't teach it anymore, and our kids don't know what I'm talking about. We are a political miracle. We are a safe haven. We offer opportunity of mobility of thought, intellectual reach, reward. We offer something that had never been offered in 15,000 years.
This concludes part 2 of 6 of the presentation. To learn more about the Dreyfuss Initiative Foundation, visit thedreyfussinitiative.org. To learn more about the LaJolla Golden Triangle Rotary Club, visit lajollagtrotary.org. To learn more about Dan McLellan, the producer of this video, visit danmclellan.com.